You scroll again. Endless streams of faces, smiles, carefully staged snapshots. Every post seems brighter, happier, more polished than your own reality. Your finger hovers over the camera icon, hovering, but you don't press it. You have dozens of photos you could share, moments of laughter, sunsets, a quiet cup of coffee, but something stops you. Always. Why? It's not shyness, it's not laziness, it's not vanity. It's something quieter, something deeper, a nervous system that learned early that to be seen is to be vulnerable. You know the feeling, your chest tightens just thinking about posting. Your thoughts spiral, will they like it? Will they judge it? Will they notice the imperfections? And so you scroll past your own images, leaving them untouched, invisible, safe. Maybe you've told yourself, I don't care what people think. But you do, you care deeply. You care in the way someone who has been burned too many times learns to be cautious, careful, reserved. The world may not see it, but every time you hold back, there's a small cost, a tightening in your chest, a quiet whisper in your mind reminding you that visibility carries risk. This behavior, the simple act of not posting, is not trivial. It is psychological, it is profound, and it is telling. At its core, it's about survival. When you were younger, maybe in school, maybe at home, you learned that showing yourself fully could lead to ridicule, criticism, or dismissal. You internalized a formula, visibility equals risk, and your brain remembers every single time. Attachment theory explains this well. Children who grow up with conditional approval, where love, attention, or safety depends on behaving the right way, often develop anxious avoidant patterns. You learned, keep them at a distance. Let them not see too much. Protect your inner world. Posting a photo online may feel trivial to others, but to you, it triggers the same old alarm signals. Be careful, be small, hide something. And here's the paradox. You want connection. You want to share, to be seen, to be part of the digital world buzzing around you. But the very act of visibility feels like a potential threat. So you scroll, you like, you comment, you engage in everyone else's lives, but your own, hidden, locked away. At what cost? Because every time you retreat, you reinforce the idea that your self-worth is conditional, that to be seen fully, without filters or edits, is dangerous, that maybe, just maybe, you are not enough as you are. And yet, there is a quiet truth buried in this struggle. This behavior is not weakness. It is survival. Your brain, your nervous system, your inner child, they all learn to protect you. And here's something important. If any of this resonates with you, if it feels like someone is finally putting words to your experience, hit that subscribe button. Because this journey isn't just about understanding why you hold back. It's about learning to reclaim yourself step by step. And I promise we'll walk through it together. Now take a breath. Feel that tightness in your chest, that hesitation. It's your body signaling that you've survived, that you've adapted, that you've been smart. But it's also the doorway to understanding yourself more deeply. In the sections ahead, we'll explore why hiding your photos is not just a habit, but a pattern rooted in early experiences, nervous system regulation, and social survival. You'll see yourself reflected in the psychology of invisibility, and perhaps begin to imagine what it would feel like to step into visibility safely. When you were young, you learned that being seen could be dangerous. Maybe it wasn't even a single traumatic event, more like 1,000 tiny calibrations, subtle signals from parents, teachers, friends, a laugh at the wrong moment, a compliment quickly undercut by a critique, a sibling's teasing, a parent distracted by their own world. Each instance whispered the same message: visibility carries risk, and over time, your nervous system memorized it. Your amygdala, the brain's threat detector, doesn't care about social nuance. To it, exposure is exposure. It reacts the same way whether someone is genuinely critical or merely observing. A simple thought, I might post this photo, sparks that old familiar signal. A tightness in your chest, a quickened heartbeat, a hesitation that feels almost automatic. You might even convince yourself, I'm just not in the mood, but beneath the words is a finely tuned survival system saying, stop, danger. Psychologists call this pattern social self-protection, a strategy the brain develops in response to early relational stress. The behavior itself, holding back, retreating, hiding, is adaptive. It kept you safe. You were learning the rules of human interaction in the world's unpredictable social landscape. When the wrong glance, a whispered judgment, or a subtle disapproval could feel devastating, invisibility became a shield. Attachment theory illuminates the mechanism further. Children with anxious avoidant attachment often learn to rely on themselves while keeping others at arm's length. The internal message is simple but powerful. I cannot trust that being fully seen will be met with acceptance. It might be met with criticism, disappointment, or rejection. So you hide, you stay small, you learn to watch, analyze, and anticipate others' reactions rather than risking exposure. Even when life becomes safer, adulthood, independence, financial security, the body remembers. These early calibrations become part of your baseline nervous system state. You develop hyper-awareness, subtle tension in your posture, micro-pauses before speaking or acting, especially when visibility is involved. Posting a photo triggers that survival pattern. It's not irrational, it's biological. You might try to rationalize it with logic. I just don't care about social media. But beneath that rationalization lies a hidden truth. The cost of visibility feels higher than the benefit of recognition. There's a quiet, unconscious ledger running in your mind. Potential embarrassment, judgment, comparison, exposure, vulnerability. And when the potential risk outweighs the reward, you retreat, always. The shadow of past relational experiences lingers. Every comment, every laugh, every fleeting disapproval from your childhood has been encoded. You carry it like a soft, invisible armor. It may feel protective, but it also shapes your identity, your self-concept, your understanding of what it means to be enough. Your invisibility becomes a mirror. You see others confidently sharing their images, their faces, their lives, and a pang strikes. Not envy, exactly, but recognition. I am capable of this, and yet I don't. Why not me? Your inner child, the part of you that first learned to hide, is still listening. That child learned early that to be noticed could be dangerous, that love, safety, and belonging were conditional. So you adapted. You became expert at restraint, at self-editing, at imagining the world's judgment before it even arrives. That same child is alive within you now, whispering caution whenever visibility tempts you. This pattern is not a flaw, it is intelligence. Your brain, your body, your inner world, they all collaborated to keep you safe in unpredictable circumstances. But the same survival strategy that once protected you now shapes your adult digital life. You scroll endlessly, participate silently, engage cautiously, and watch life pass through other people's curated windows. Your own reflection remains carefully hidden, both to yourself and to the world. And yet this invisibility carries its own paradox. The same instincts that protect you from judgment also distance you from connection. Your nervous system is tuned to safety, but your heart is quietly longing for acknowledgement, for being seen without fear. The tension between protection and desire creates a persistent ache, subtle but undeniable, a signal that there is more to this behavior than habit or choice. In adulthood, the patterns that once protected you don't disappear, they evolve. They become subtle, woven into the texture of daily life. You might scroll through feeds for hours, noticing friends posting vacation photos, family gatherings, or casual selfies while you remain silent. You watch, quietly analyzing, comparing, calculating. You participate in other people's visibility, but rarely, if ever, allow yourself the same permission. You might notice the contradictions in yourself. You are confident at work, capable in relationships, articulate and intelligent. People see you as poised, collected, even charming. And yet, there is an invisible counterweight, a part of you that hesitates, that edits, that censors. You look successful on the outside, but feel constrained inside. You protect yourself so thoroughly that connection becomes mediated, filtered, indirect. Social gatherings can be tricky. When friends suggest taking a group photo, a part of you shrinks, not because you dislike the moment, but because the idea of being captured, preserved, and potentially shared triggers a flicker of anxiety. You might smile, participate, even enjoy yourself, but there's always that silent calculation. How will this look? How much of me will be exposed? Romantic relationships carry their own complexities. You may be fully present, attentive, loving even, but the thought of sharing images or moments publicly creates tension. Perhaps you avoid it, downplay it, or disengage from any digital trace of your intimacy. This is not secrecy born of deceit. It is survival encoded in behavior. Your inner child remembers being seen can hurt. Even daily life carries its subtle echoes. You may avoid posting achievements, sharing milestones, or showing simple joys. Compliments and attention feel double-edged. They validate, yes, but they also risk exposure. Your mind prepares defenses automatically. This is too much. Don't let them see this. Hide your imperfections. And the result is invisibility, not out of shame, but as an automatic act of self-preservation. You might ask yourself, why can I be so open in person but not online? The answer is in the nervous system. Real-life interactions provide feedback, tone, and nuance. Online, everything is flattened into images, likes, comments, a static reflection that cannot communicate context. The brain interprets it as risk. You are wired to protect yourself from perceived danger, not just to manage digital etiquette. Yet this invisibility creates its own costs. You miss opportunities for recognition, for connection, for self-expression. You may feel frustration at your own restraint or subtle loneliness, even while surrounded by friends and community. You observe others stepping into visibility, and part of you admires them, but another part holds back, unwilling to risk discomfort or judgment. And the internal dialogue is relentless. Maybe I'll post tomorrow. Maybe I'll wait until I look better, feel better, and more prepared. But tomorrow becomes another day, and the photos remain unseen. This hesitation is both a shield and a prison, a reminder that the survival patterns that once protected you now subtly limit your freedom to engage, to share, to be fully seen. What is remarkable, though, is that this pattern is not a weakness. It is intelligence. It is a sophisticated, highly tuned mechanism that has kept you safe through countless social scenarios, real and imagined. But intelligence without flexibility becomes constraint. You have mastered invisibility, but the mastery comes at a cost: emotional intimacy, self-expression, and the quiet satisfaction of being acknowledged for who you truly are. Even in moments of self-reflection, the tension is palpable. You might rehearse possible posts in your mind, consider how they'd be perceived, imagine criticisms, or anticipate awkward comments. Every imagined scenario activates your protective responses, keeps you small, keeps you safe. And every day, in this dance between desire and caution, you practice a form of invisibility few people recognize as a pattern, let alone understand as deeply rooted psychology. The truth is quiet but profound. You don't avoid posting photos because of vanity or laziness. You do it because you have learned to survive. What saved you then imprisons you now. The same mechanisms that protected your inner child from ridicule, criticism, and exposure are the ones keeping you small in the present. You carry a nervous system finely attuned to threat, a mind rehearsing judgment before it even arrives, and a heart that longs to be seen but fears the cost. This isn't your fault. You were adapting. You became expert at reading social cues, anticipating responses, and self-regulating to avoid discomfort or harm. Invisibility was your armor, your strategy, your intelligence. But intelligence without flexibility is constraint. And constraint, left unchecked, can feel like loneliness, stagnation, or quiet dissatisfaction. You get to change that. You get to pause, witness, and reflect without judgment. Start with noticing the micro moments, the hesitation before opening your camera roll, the tightening in your chest when thinking about sharing, the self-editing before you speak, post, or act. Witness it, name it, own it. This is the first step. It isn't fixing, it's acknowledgement. Inner child work can help. Ask yourself, what did you need when you were younger that made hiding necessary? Let yourself feel it fully. Offer the compassion you may not have received. Shadow work asks the same. Which part of you remains hidden, not out of shame, but out of survival? And then gently explore what it would feel like to allow that part of you into the world safely. Practical questions help ground this. What would it feel like to post one image, one small glimpse, without overthinking it? What would it feel like to simply exist in visibility without performance? You may start with a private group, a close friend, or even just imagining it. Each micro-step rewires the nervous system, teaching it that visibility does not always equal danger. Change does not need to be dramatic. It is iterative, patient, and compassionate. You might post one photo, you might delete it, you might never post again, and that's okay. Each choice is valid. The key is the awareness that the pattern you've lived by is no longer the only way. You have agency, you have choice. You can step into visibility on your own terms, guided by curiosity, not fear. And here is the paradoxical insight. The same intelligence that once kept you invisible can now guide your presence. You can choose when to protect yourself and when to risk exposure. You can decide what parts of yourself to share and what parts to hold sacred. You can participate in the digital world without surrendering your inner safety. You can be seen, and you can be safe. Your invisibility was not weakness, it was survival. But now, the survival patterns can transform into thriving patterns. You can allow yourself to post a photo, to be present, to claim recognition without fearing judgment. You can engage without anxiety, witness without retreating, and exist without self-editing. You can honor your past and rewrite your present. You have learned mastery over your visibility. Now, imagine mastery over your choice. Imagine sharing, not because you have to, but because you want to. Imagine stepping forward, one micro moment at a time, allowing connection, acknowledgement, and joy to enter your experience. And the most remarkable part, there is no rush, no timetable, no requirement. You get to decide how, when, and if you are visible. This isn't a flaw, it isn't a weakness. It's intelligence, survival, and self-knowledge finally meeting conscious choice. Take a breath, feel your chest expand. For decades, you've learned to protect yourself. Now, for the first time, you get to choose how to show up, fully, safely, and intentionally. You have the choice now, you have the power now, and the world can finally see not just a curated image, but the authentic, resilient, thoughtful, and capable person you have always been.